Hi, welcome to Bookie. Today we will unlock the Book of Mice and Men. Of Mice and Men is one of Steinbeck's masterpieces that reflect his ability to accurately transform social perceptions into narratives. It tells the story of how the protagonists George and Lenny attempt to pursue their dream of land only for it to end in failure. This widely acclaimed book is one of the 10 most read classics in American education. In the beginning of the century, British readers have nominated Of Mice and Men as one of the top 100 best-loved novels in the United Kingdom. The title, Of Mice and Men, was inspired by the poem To a Mouse by the Scottish poet Robert Burns. A famous line in the poem reads, "The best laid plans of mice and men often go awry." This line can be used to describe the fate of the novel's main characters, George and Lenny's fate in the novel. No matter how hard they work and how carefully they act, their hope of saving up always falls through because of Lenny's innocent mistakes. They are forced to be constantly on the run, drifting from place to place until an irreparable mistake, causing their dream to be completely shattered. Of Mice and Men was written in the United States in the 1930s. Today's society is very different and the contextual background of that time have changed a lot. Some of the problems described in the book have disappeared on account of worldwide economic development and critical societal changes. So, why is this novel still acclaimed by people all over the world? Although some specific social issues may be different nowadays, the living conditions of the lower-class characters reflected in the plot of the book still resonate with many people. Steinbeck's Nobel Prize motivation states that he won the accolade for his realistic and imaginative writings, combining as they do sympathetic humor and keen social perception. After all, what is this story all about? How did the two protagonists' dream of land fall into ruins? What kind of living conditions are reflected in this narrative? And why has it received so well from different audiences? Next, we will introduce this book by dividing it into 3 major parts. In Part 1, we will summarize the plot of the novella, using George's 4 conversations with Lenny about their dream as the narrative thread. In Part 2, we will explore the dual themes of the book and briefly analyze its protagonists. Finally, in Part 3, we will consider the value of the work, based on its creative background and writing style, to discuss the relevance of Steinbeck's message in today's society. Part 1, The Unattainable Dream of Land. A few miles south of Soledad, California, there is a forest with a small path. In the evenings, the passing tramps would exit the highway, cross the path, and set up camp by the riverbanks to rest their weary heads, so that they can continue on their journey the next day. The summer is extremely hot, there is a breeze in the forest, and 2 men are approaching in a single file. They are dressed in overalls, and the black hats on their heads are worn out of shape. The one walking in front is small in stature. He has thin arms, small, strong hands, and sharp features. His eyes are restless, and he moves with agility. The one at the back is the polar opposite, burly and broad-shouldered. He has pale features and walks with heavy steps, similar to the way a bear drags his paws. The first man is named George, and his partner is Lenny. George and Lenny are on their way to a ranch for work. The bus driver gave them the wrong directions, so they had to walk about 4 miles before finally catching sight of the ranch. At first, they consider going there directly to have supper and spend the night, but that would mean they must start working immediately the next morning and lift grain bags for the whole day. Taking all of that into account, they decide to spend the night at the sandbanks, take the time to enjoy their last little bit of idleness. To be precise, this is actually George's plan. Lenny doesn't know anything, he simply follows George like a puppy. He doesn't even know where they are going, even though George has informed him countless times, which annoys George so much. He complains about being weighed down by him. Without Lenny, his life would be easier and less filled with trouble. Lenny always causes trouble wherever he goes, so the two of them cannot keep a steady job and have to drift from place to place. In the last ranch they worked together, Lenny tried to touch a girl's dress and was mistaken for a rapist, so they had to leave and find work somewhere else. Lenny has his obsession. He likes everything that is soft to the touch, such as female dresses, mice, and rabbits. He gets excited anytime rabbits are mentioned. He and George have the same dream, to save up their wages and buy a plot of land, so they could plant all kinds of fruits and vegetables, and rear cows, pigs, and rabbits. This way, they could live off the land and wouldn't need to scramble around to make a living. They could lie down comfortably by the fireplace at home, listening